Hi there, haha. Welcome to the charity panel for Furcation 2020. My name is Jana Dogwai, and I'll be taking you through over the next hour everything charity. So, as hopefully you are all aware, our charity this year is Fern Animal Sanctuary, a fantastic charity, and they were obviously our charity in 2019. They enamored themselves, so much to us that we absolutely wanted to support them again as we weren't doing sort of the full event. And so absolutely again we are going to be supporting Fern Animal Sanctuary. Looking back a little bit though over Fern Animal Sanctuary in 2019, you guys did a fantastic job and we managed to raise £8,532 and 33 pence. I'm not sure where the 33 pence came from, but it's all greatly received. This year, obviously, we are doing a number of things for charity. First thing I'm going to mention straight away is somewhere down there, you should see that there is a link to our Just Giving page for Fern Animal Sanctuary. The address is justgiving.com/furcation-2020. And obviously on that, please do give as generously as you can. I will be going through a few things on that in a bit. Before we continue and go through all the things that we are going to be doing this year, I do want to do a bit of a shout out or a couple of shout outs, as we didn't know what we were going to get this year as far as charity amounts are concerned. This is very different new territory for us, being online and COVID, everything. It's just been a crazy year. So we set a amount that we'd like to raise for charity at £1,000. We're already doing fantastically on that. More on that in a moment. But before even the event started, I'm absolutely pleased to say that there have been some of our attendees and in fact staff have in fact been busy doing their own collections of ferns. So firstly, I'd like to say a massive thank you to Xavier Fox. If you watch the opening ceremony, you would see that they did a few months ago, right in the middle of lockdown, they did do a bit of a collection on their stream, and at that point they managed to raise £383 for Fern Animal Sanctuary, and in fact they've just obviously announced they're going to up that to £500, so that's amazing. As well as that, our very own, also of our staff, our very own Gothy Cat, who's not on the live stream this year, but you normally see her working in our ops on our ops desk when we're doing a proper event at the actual, or I should say, not a proper event, an event that's at a caravan park. Gothy actually runs a online radio station along with our very own Alpha and Irish on Mixcloud. They did a charity stream a few weeks ago and they managed to raise £510 for Fern as well, which is absolutely amazing. Those are obviously all going separately to Fern, so they won't be included in our total, but both of those well done. And a massive thank you for everyone who has donated so far and will donate. Got a lot coming up to talk about what we're doing this week, but before that, just like to introduce a video from the CEO of Fern Animal Sanctuary, Elaine. Hopefully that will get played now. He says.
Hello, Furcation. Thank you so much for choosing us to be your charity again this year. We really, really appreciate all of the time, effort and energy you spent fundraising for us last year. And you raised such an incredible amount of money. I'm really looking forward to seeing how much more you can raise this year. This year has been a very strange year for everyone, and we know this because of COVID, and that your event is going to be virtual rather than in person. But I'm sure that won't stop you having an absolutely fabulous time. One of the things I was asked to talk about was how COVID has affected Fern. Well, in some ways, we've had a really good year because we've had peace and quiet. And as a sanctuary, it's lovely to have the animals behaving naturally. We've had pussycats who don't come out, coming to visit us in meetings. We've had cats in the dog's home. We've nearly had dogs in the cat's home. And it's all been really, really fun. But what we haven't had is money. In fact, we've got very little money left. and we are managing on the resources that we have. We have asked everybody for money, and we're really grateful to you guys for thinking of us again, as I said. We lost over 90% of our income as a result of lockdown, and now we're in the recovery phase. We're hoping that we're going to be able to start growing back the fundraising that we've lost. But much of that is still going to have to be online, and we're not sure how people are going to respond. So have a wonderful, wonderful evening from everyone here at Fern. I hope you enjoy the little film that we've made for you, and if you could dig deep into your pockets and give generously, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Hello again, and thank you very much to Elaine for making that video. An important point to note on that video is it was made a couple of weeks ago, just before the second lockdown was announced. And you saw in that video Elaine talking about how Fern are looking to sort of recover after their funds and sort of operations were devastated by the original lockdown and COVID-19. Obviously, the second lockdown is going to make a big difference and make things even harder for them. So it is so important that we can get as much money to this fantastic charity as possible. So I might have mentioned it before, but again, just down there, the Just Giving link, Furcation 2020, justgiving.com, Furcation 2020. Absolutely, please give as much as you can. A little note on that: if you're a UK taxpayer, which I imagine most of you are, there is an option to add gift aid onto that. It costs you nothing. It just means that the UK government will add a bonus of 25% on the majority of what you put in. So that, please do tick on that there. I'll come back to a few more things about that again shortly. However, there's one more thing. Well, not one more thing. There's a few more things, but we have got, as well as Elaine, we have got Emma, who works at Fern Animal Sanctuary, and I have them waiting patiently on another computer in a Zoom call, and we're just going to switch over to that now. I have got some questions from yourselves as well. Things, learn a bit more about the charity direct from their sort of themselves, as whilst I can tell you about it, I can't sort of add in just how amazing it is without speaking to them. So hopefully you'll be able to switch over to Emma now, and I apologise if you see the back of my head.
Brilliant, well done.
Fantastic. Okay, so hello, thank you very much for joining us here, Emma. Obviously from Fern, we've just heard a little bit about sort of how important the work you do is, but haven't explained very much about the work. So hopefully we'll be able to ask you a few questions, go through that, and people watching can learn a little more. So
Sounds
just
great.
to start off, could I ask you though to introduce yourself fully and just a little bit about yourself?
Of course. So my name's Emma Green. I'm the community fundraiser at Fern Animal Sanctuary. I actually started at a very strange time. So I started the role just 2 weeks before our first lockdown.
Oh, wow.
Which was interesting. So I spent 2 weeks on site before suddenly finding myself working from home for 4 months. My background before that, I managed a dementia charity, but I've always had a passion for animals. So when the job came along, it felt like the perfect opportunity to combine lots of the things that I love. And I think if I could have told my child self that I'd be raising money to look after animals in need, she'd be so proud of me. So I knew it was the right choice to make.
Fantastic. Glad to hear that you found yourself in somewhere that your child herself wanted to be.
It's important, isn't it?
Absolutely there, definitely. So, as I say, everyone knows that you're representing Fern and that we're supporting Fern, but could you tell us a little bit about the history of Fern Animal Sanctuary and how it started or what it's about?
So we've been in operation for over 80 years now. It was founded by the late Nina, Duchess of Hamilton and Brandon, back in 1939. She realised that as people were starting to go to war and rations were coming into place, sadly, lots of pets were having to be put to sleep. She went on the BBC and she put a call out And allegedly, she returned home to her London house to find a queue of dogs, cats, and even a parrot waiting for her.
Wow.
I know. So all of these she took.
Segment.
Yeah, I know. We don't have any parrots now. All of these she took back to her Fern estate in Dorset. And then, sadly, as a number of the animals had belonged to servicemen or women who didn't return from war, that's when the rehoming process started. And it's kind of grown from there. In 1975, we moved to where we are now in the Blackdown Hills on the Somerset Devon border. And since then, the organisation has sort of grown, but kept true to that original ethos, really.
Fantastic. So, obviously, as I mentioned earlier on our stream, last year Furcation raised just over £8,500. Can you tell us a little bit about what that money was used for as well?
Yeah, absolutely. It was an amazing amount raised. So we are so grateful for your support. It went towards the biggest cost we have is the upkeep of our animals. And obviously that's the essential cost that we will never cut back on. So health checks, veterinary bills, all our dogs, for example, all our dogs and cats rather, will have a health check when they come in. If they require vaccinations, they'll always have those automatically, and they'll be neutered if they require it as well. So I know in 2019, we spent £16,000 just on neutering dogs. Wow. It's a crazy amount of money, yeah. But it's not just that, it's also enrichment for the animals, which is so important as well. So with some of the animals, that's really simple. If you've got, at the minute, we've someone donated some old willow branches, and that's perfect enrichment for our goats. They're having a great time with those. Wow. But sometimes it's more complicated. So we were also able to invest in some agility equipment for our dogs, right, which they absolutely love. And that was also a great thing during lockdowns, another activity that we could do with all the dogs that were with us through lockdown.
Fantastic, thank you very much. So just on the back of that, you mentioned £16,000 on neutering alone.
Yeah.
How much it actually costs a year to sort of run Fern, or how much you need to keep going?
It's a terrifying, as a fundraiser, it's a terrifying figure. It's 1.2 million per year.
Wow, that's a lot.
I know, it's phenomenal, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It really is scary, but it's our vet bills alone are 6 figures annually. So, and again, as I said, that's the cost you can't cut back on. That's the essentials. But because we look after so many animals, all the costs you think of having a pet are multiplied massively. So as a random fact, I know we spend about £100 a year on poo bags, buying about 5,000 of them annually.
Wow. Well, I thought getting them £5 every year is a bit much for me, but yeah, that's a lot of money. So, yeah.
Every donation we have makes a difference. So that's the thing. Lots of small donations collectively make a huge, huge difference to the animals we care for and to the sanctuary. So we are grateful for everything we receive.
Fantastic. And just wondering, am I right in saying all your money comes from fundraising? You don't get any sort of government money? I think that's right.
That's absolutely right. And especially, I know with the advent of lockdown, there was government support launched for charities. Not a penny of that went to any of the animal charities at all, because none of us were eligible for it. So yeah. It really is down to fundraising. We have charity shops, so we have those as an income stream as well. But it really comes down to, fundraising. Really? And you got guys like you helping us.
Well, we're absolutely thrilled to do what we can. So you've mentioned obviously lockdown and that you weren't eligible for money, government grants, etc. Can you tell us a little about what sort of COVID, the situation at the moment, has done as far as Fern is concerned, and how it's affected yourselves?
Of course. So financially, it was awful, in all honesty. Overnight, when the first lockdown was announced, we lost 92% of our income, just like that. It was gone. And I know that it was expected to a certain amount, but we all were in that sort of limbo. Will it happen? Won't it happen? So it was a shock. No visitors at a really busy time of year for us, because we were just about to hit the Easter holidays. We had all sorts of plans in place. And obviously the knock-on effect then of no one in the gift shop, no one in the restaurant. Our free charity shops instantly shut, so those were gone. And then also, as you know, all events that were planned by us, but also planned by third parties in aid of us, suddenly they disappeared overnight as well. So although I know to some extent it was expected because we were heading that way, it was still an absolute shock. My role personally went from doing fun things like events and actually getting out in the public and talking to people about Fern and the work we do, to 4 months sat staring at a laptop applying for different grants and trying to get funds in that way. And it was only really towards the end of lockdown, when people grew in confidence a bit and started to engage more, that we were able to sort of have a little bit more community fundraising coming back in, but obviously within line with all the regulations that are in place now.
No, absolutely. It's been a tough time, and you know, sometimes it's easy to forget that just how much it is sort of like the rug is ripped from under your feet as a charity looking after animals. So
yeah, absolutely. I think for animal charities across the board, understandably at first there was a huge focus on NHS, on frontline organisations, and that is 100% understandable. But animals went off everyone's radar a bit, and still have to a certain extent. But I think because of the way we were set up at the beginning of the war in a time of difficulty to meet the needs of people, it makes it even more important that we continue to meet those needs, because equally COVID has meant more demand for our support, because we have people who are either
here's people. Just what's going on? These technical difficulties is crazy.
I love and hate technology.
Yeah, we are back now, definitely.
Brilliant.
So that's it there. So yeah, sorry about that, guys. Still got a few bugs that we're trying to sort of work out, but yeah, we were just hearing obviously how Fern, you know, with the advent of the second lockdown, how they had some bonuses just before the lockdown with increased numbers, etc. But since, you know, going into a second lockdown, it's going to be sort of similar to what happened before. So obviously, every penny is important there. So a few more questions to go there. In fact, I'll tell you what, actually. Bear me a second. We've had some questions from our audience. We normally call them attendees. I don't know. Can you call them attendees if it's a live stream? I don't know.
I know.
Let me just get these up. Won't be a second. Okay, so a few questions here, as I say. First one is by Grey Fluff. So, who are your personal favourite animals at the sanctuary, either present or past?
That is such a difficult question, because I love them all, but I do have a few stand out. So, had you asked me before I started, I never would have said that one of the cows would be at the top of my list, but Star the cow is very special. She also has a really lovely story behind her. A lot of the animals that come into us come with sad stories, so they may have been abandoned, they may be welfare cases, and it can be quite traumatic, but Star is a good news story, which is always nice.
That's good, yeah.
She's an ex-milker, and she's a real character, quite naughty, quite mischievous. So when she came to the end of her milking career and she was due to go to market, all the farm hands actually clubbed in together and paid the market value for her so she could come to Fern and spend the rest of her life with us.
Oh, wow, that's great.
It's really sweet, isn't it? And she's an absolute darling. Honestly, you go into the field with her and she likes nothing more than to come over for a good old head scratch. And I've learnt now to brace myself, because she has no idea how big she is. So she nearly knocked me off my feet the first time she came in for a head scratch, but I've learnt.
Sounds great.
But also ferrets as well. The ferrets are really cute.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of the smaller, they're brilliant, aren't they? I've not spent time with them before Fern. Whereas a lot of the sort of guinea pigs and rabbits will move away from you when you go into the enclosure. Ferrets are there and they're up and they want to be involved, which I really like as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't know if you know, we have two mascots at Furcation, and they are both ferrets, Frankie and Chloe.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
there you go. Good choice.
Absolutely, yeah. And our vice chairman, who does the business side of things, all the money and bits and bobs, they keep quite a number of ferrets. So
they're such characters, they really are.
100%, yeah, definitely there. Fantastic. So a few more questions. So Actually, it's an interesting one there. So it's from Alex Fly UK. This was asked before we started the stream. So they did ask how the charity started, which you've already answered. However, they've also asked what motivated you to want to raise money for this cause in particular.
Me personally, it comes from an absolute love of animals, to be honest, and a love of animals that goes way back to my childhood. I grew up in the countryside. We had a field opposite that had bullocks in regularly, and like a proper traditional old Somerset farmer who you could barely understand. And because we were quite sort of isolated out in the countryside, I used to go and chat to the bullocks. Probably a bit of a worrying confession to make live, but so I've always loved being around animals. Then I had the experience of managing a dementia charity, which was incredibly worthwhile. But when the opportunity came up to use the skills I'd learnt there to actually raise money for animals, for me, it was a no-brainer.
Fantastic. There's nothing wrong with talking to bullocks as long as they don't answer back. That's it. No, you're really worried. Okay. Another question from Kazuma2002. What's the most exotic animal you have at the charity? And also, what's the most dangerous animal?
Ooh, exotic, I suppose. We have our chipmunks. We only have, I think it's only 2, I could be wrong, but I think we only have 2 now because the majority of them went off to star in a film, I believe. So, right. Yeah. And we have chinchillas as well. Oh, but, wow. And I suppose in our aviary, we have a lot of birds who'd be native to Australia, really. So parakeets, canaries, budgies, but we're not really exotic based. Right. As for the most dangerous, I don't think any of them are dangerous. They're all lovely. I suppose the most naughty would probably be Vincent van Gogh.
All right.
So he's the troublesome one. If you're in the field with the goats, I learned this on my induction, you watch out for him because he has got a tendency to butt the other goats. And when you're trying to move them from field to field, if he decides that he actually would rather eat the plants in the plant pot and you try and move him, there's a high possibility he might butt you as well. But I don't think I could call him dangerous, just a little bit naughty and misunderstood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Sounds like a character, definitely there. So, wow, just there were a few questions in the chat. They've just exploded. So I'm just going to go through these. Oh, so... Actually, an interesting one here from Blaze Shepsky. Do you guys have any volunteers working for you? And how could someone get involved if they wanted to? Obviously, most likely when COVID's over or even before.
Yes. We have, in normal times, we have a huge team of volunteers. I believe it went up to, just before lockdown, it was about 250 people. But that's helping in a whole variety of ways. So volunteers in our charity shops. Also, our gift shop, when it's open, is run entirely by volunteers. And then we had volunteer dog walkers. Our cattery is very small, so social distancing is impossible. But pre-COVID, we used to have volunteers who came to cuddle our cats and just do socialisation. Oh, yes. I know, what a job. And also to help out on all the departments. So we have large farm, small farm, equine. So all of those. Although equine not so much because they're often welfare cases, but the large farm and small farm, we also used to have volunteers who would help because there's, we've got about 400 resident animals that we're caring for every day. So there are almost endless jobs. And if you're interested in getting involved, obviously at the minute, sadly, we can't bring any volunteers in, and even our existing volunteers we're having to put on hold. But there's a contact form on the website. So if you are interested, please do get in touch because post-COVID, I think we'll be looking to build a team up again because sadly we are going to lose people through this.
Yeah, we understand there. Just you mentioned the website, is it FoodSalesFernAnimalSanctuary.org, is it?
That's exactly right, yeah.
Fantastic. So yeah, if anyone does want to look that up, absolutely go for it there. So we just had one come through from Hanaconda227. I don't know if there's a motive behind this, but they've asked, you mentioned chinchillas. Do you rehome them?
We don't tend to rehome our chinchillas or small farm animals just because we give them the ultimate luxury that very few people are able to give them. What we do have running all the time, though, is a list of people who are interested in specific animals. And then if we get contacted about an animal, but we haven't got the capacity, or we know there's someone else who could potentially rehome them, we kind of act as a go-between and put those people in contact.
I see. No, makes complete sense. So interesting one. Just trying to find where's it from? Okay, yeah. So a question from Nitrax. Obviously, you've heard about how lockdown and everything devastated funds and everything there. But how did that situation affect the animals themselves? Was it a good thing or a bad thing? Were they calmer or anything like that?
Do you know what? That is the opposite side of it for us, because actually the sanctuary, when there are no visitors, is a little bit of heaven. It's just beautiful. Don't get me wrong, a lot of our animals enjoy the visitors. So things like the goats, the pigs are quite sociable animals. They like to see what's going on, and they're likely to come over to visitors. Obviously, at the minute, we can't let anyone touch the animals, which is another issue as well. But as I said before, some of our animals are more welfare cases. So they can be really anxious and understandably nervous around humans and mistrusting of humans. So for example, our resident cats, they're residents for a reason, and they're probably semi-feral, have some problems around people, their behavioural habits. So, and some of the cats who rarely come out were roaming the sanctuary freely during lockdown. And also we have a sort of training arena for our equines, which is fairly central. So that really limits when we can use it. So if we have a horse that's not great with the public, we don't really want to be bringing it through when it's full of visitors. So actually, it was a brilliant opportunity to do some really, really important work with some of our animals as well. And from a personal point of view, like now I'll be back at Fern 2 days a week, then working at home 3 days a week. And it's that sense of connection with Fern, but seeing it there, in the sunshine with no visitors, all the animals just seem super chilled out and happy.
So there are some silver linings there to this.
Yeah, definitely.
Alrighty, a quick one actually. So obviously we're all furries, and with our in our fandom, there's one sort of species that seems to always be a bit more popular than others. There are many species that people like speak about, but Nitrax has asked if you have any foxes at the sanctuary.
I mean, we don't have any resident foxes, and in all honesty, for the sake of our chickens, we try to discourage the local foxes.
Understandable, yeah. Fantastic. And actually, another question has come in from our very own Sea Dragon, who does our PR at Furcation. They've asked not specifically animals at Fern, but what is your favourite type of animal in general?
Oh, that's so difficult. Part of me wants to say dogs, because I've always had dogs in my life. So, and actually, I don't know, for any of you who've got pets, how important were pets through lockdown for keeping us sane?
Absolutely,
I think, yeah. So for the sake of Flower, who's actually on a walk at the minute with my partner, otherwise she'd be sat behind me. It's where she spent most of lockdown, sat here while I was working.
Bless.
I've got to say dogs.
Good choice. I'm definitely a dog person as well. Sorry, my screen's just frozen. Hopefully that'll come back in a second. Okay, yeah, that's better. Sorry, just had a frozen screen on my side. Okay, so I think we've got most of the questions there. Just want to see if there's any I've missed. Don't want to miss anyone out. Sorry, I'll be a second. Okay. Fantastic. Yeah, so I think we've asked all the questions that have been asked, or answered, sorry, all the questions that have been asked. As I say, I think there's not much more to go through. Is there anything else that you wanted to bring up while we're here for the guys at home?
For me, it really is just an absolutely heartfelt thanks to you guys for choosing us. As I've said, this has been an incredibly difficult year. Our shortfall on fundraising income, is really hard. It's really hard to replace. So we are just so grateful to you for choosing us for a second year, for your support and for, you know, doing what you can and putting the event online. I've just had to do an online dog and cat show, so I know what you're going through.
Yeah, it's been an up sort of a steep learning curve, I think is the best way to say it there.
Yeah, I think this year's been a learning curve, hasn't it?
Absolutely there. Just a little bit, because I just realised I hadn't told you this yet. So we're just at the start of this event. We started at 10 a.m. this morning. We have had some sort of channels open for the last couple of days. On the Just Giving that we've set up for yourselves so far, just from donations, we've at £440.60.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. Thank you so much.
Well, the guys have been so generous. And I don't know if you heard, I mentioned earlier on, we have had people who've done separate, connected with Furcation, who've done separate fundraising before. It's not really included in our total, but we had a radio stream by one of our staff members.
That's right. I remember that. And that raised an amazing amount as well, didn't it? So thank you so much.
Yeah. And one of our attendees, Xavier Fox, as well, has put together, and I believe that's £500 that should be winging its way to yourself soon. So you know, that's separate to ourselves, but you know, it's obviously really happy with the guys that, you know, our viewers, our attendees, that, you know, absolutely get behind yourselves. So hopefully that figure will rise steeply, and we'll keep you updated. But thank you very much for joining me today, Emma.
Thank you.
No, thank you. And we'll switch back over to my stream. You have a great day. Take care of yourself.
And you. Thank you so much for your support.
No problem.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Hi there. Are we live yet? Just checking. Fantastic. Hello everyone again, back at another computer. I'm switching everything here. Thank you to Fern there for their interview and taking their time out to answer your questions. Thank you guys so much for your questions and your support so far. Speaking of your support, I might have mentioned there should be a link somewhere down there for our Just Giving page. Absolutely anything you can give to the charity, to Fern, is hugely appreciated. As we've just heard, it's so important. They've had literally their funding streams, you know, decimated, so every penny is so important for this charity. So your support so far is massively appreciated, not just by myself but by everyone at the sanctuary as well. So keep that up. Speaking of your support, you should have just seen a little video about our well, I say it's Fern's Mascot Mayhem. We've got a sack race coming up a little bit later on. We spoke a little bit about this so far, but I'll go through exactly what's happening with that. So basically, there's going to be a sack race. We'll be showing it during the auction, just after lunch, so somewhere between 2 and 3. We'll see that sack race. There's all 10 mascots of Fern Animal Sanctuary are running in that. There is only one winner, I can tell you that much. So if you want to back your favourite mascot, you saw the video there, there's information. If you go to, it's a different link this time, it's justgiving.com/ /Furcation race. Hopefully that will be put in the chat by one of our stream moguls, but that's justgiving.com /Furcation race. In there, if you put in which mascot you would like to see win, and also a little bit of a donation. Unfortunately, because of something I'll come to in a minute, that Just Giving isn't eligible for the gift aid, so there's no option for that. That's why we have to use a different page to our main one. But if you put in, a donation, we're suggesting £3 or more, but anything you want to do is appreciated. And in the comments, just leave a username that we can identify you by in the future. Doesn't have to be your real name, and also name which mascot you would like to see to win. We will tally up and like to see who the most popular mascot is, and maybe we won't tally up the one that's least popular because that's just a bit unfair. But yeah, we'll be running that race. Anyone who does donate through that more than £3, and leaves a username, will be eligible for the most exclusive of all gifts in the world, and that is so exclusive I don't even have one. It is a 2020 com badge, which I think I like gold dust anyway, but it'll be a specific 2020 charity com badge. You'll be able to use it for bragging rights at our next event, which should be in 2021. Or if you're not going, we can organise sending it out, but there'll be more information about that through on our social media closer to the time. But I say we will be keeping that, and anyone who does donate more than £3 and leaves your username will be back in contact with yourself. So that link again, just for the mascot stack race, is justgiving.com /Furcation race. Okay, so that's not the only thing we've got going on this weekend. In fact, just after our lunch, so it's starting at 2 o'clock, and we have got the charity auction, which is going to be hosted by the fantastic and yappy Irish. There are a lot of things going on. We've had some really, really great donations and things listed. It is all listed through eBay. The links are in the charity information stream on Discord, and they should be going out on social media as well. So absolutely go there, do bid, put your bids in. We want to see those go crazy. There are some fantastic things on there. There's art, there's enamel pins, there's lanyards, there's obviously those are fantastic. The most important and the best thing there is there are some pot noodles on there. So I want to see, in this day and age, you're going absolutely crazy, because who doesn't want a pot noodle during lockdown? So that'll be coming up, I say, between 2 and 3 today. It is all bidding through eBay, and the money goes directly to Fern Animal Sanctuary. From there, all lots are 100% to charity. No, it's literally every single penny that you bid or pay there, whoever the winning bidder is, will go to Fern, without any cuts on it, not even fees to eBay. That those get taken off, as it is all for charity. So absolutely there, go check it out. Check out the links in the Discord and on social media, and obviously there'll be more information during the stream. So I think that's coming to the end of what we've sort of got to go through today. Like I say, one more time, in case you've missed it, or you haven't got it through, there is a Just Giving link down there, justgiving.com /Furcation-2020. Please go through there. Just one note actually on that, I forgot to mention, when you are donating, the way Just Giving works is it will ask if you want to give a portion to an amount to Just Giving directly. That is entirely voluntary. You can, if you prefer, choose not to give anything to the Just Giving website, or you can put a little bit in there to help them with their running their costs. But everything you put in the main portion, the big box that says what do you want to give to Fern, goes directly to Fern as well. And I think that's it. There's just a couple more videos just to play again. But apart from that, thank you very much for tuning in, everyone. It's been fantastic. Thank you again to Emma. Thank you to everyone who's donated so far and who will donate and take part in the events. It's been an absolute pleasure so far, and I look forward to being able to tally up the results and see what we've got. I promise, unlike any other events happening at the moment, we will not stop the counting. The counting will continue till the end, till every penny is counted. I promise you that. So that all that remains is to say thank you very much again, and if our stream bunnies can play the VT, thank you very much, guys. Bye.
Hello, this is Susan George, and on behalf of all of us at Fern Animal Sanctuary, a huge thank you from our carers, workers, helpers, and especially the animals. Thank you for the love and care you have given to your pets in these incredibly difficult times. Thank you for your thoughts and wishes, and importantly, donations, for without them we wouldn't be able to do the job we do. Thank you for remembering us also when there's been so much else to think about. Fern Animal Sanctuary is celebrating over 80 years of caring for animals. And it's thanks to you.